You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
If you hold EWY, FLKR, or any Korea-linked fund, July 2nd is not noise. The hashtag KOSPI fell 7.89%, erasing roughly $407 billion USD. Does this crash create new risk for your Korea holdings? And what do you need to know before the next session? It's Friday, July 3rd. Let's look at what this means for retail investors in Korea.
Okay, let's unpack this because there's a massive divergence happening between how everyday retail investors and institutional funds are reacting right now.
Absolutely. I mean, the data shows two completely different realities. Foreign investors net sold 4.4 trillion won, or about $3.1 billion USD, on July 2nd, marking 10 consecutive days of selling.
Wow, 10 days straight.
Yeah, and meanwhile, retail investors net bought 6.3 trillion won, which is $4.5 billion USD. The catalyst here is actually Meta, because they are starting a service called Meta Compute, where they essentially rent out surplus AI data center capacity.
Right, so they're renting it out to outside clients,
Exactly, which is sending a massive signal that hyperscaler AI investment might have, well, finally peaked. That makes so much sense. It's like retail investors are catching a falling knife while the smart money basically evacuates.
That is exactly what it looks like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like a massive restaurant chain suddenly deciding to rent out their extra commercial ovens.
Right.
It signals they aren't planning to open new locations, which instantly panics their parts suppliers.
Right, they just don't need the equipment anymore.
Exactly. So if Meta isn't building new data centers, they aren't buying high bandwidth memory chips. No wonder the semiconductor heavyweights were totally obliterated, with Samsung Electronics shedding 9.1% and SK Hynix collapsing 14.6% in a single session.
What's fascinating here is how active traders are trying to navigate that exact collapse.
Like, by shorting the market.
Yeah, inverse ETF daily trading value rose 48% to 2.8 trillion won, or roughly $2 billion USD. And for those holding amplified leveraged single stock products, well, the damage was immediate.
Because they amplify the daily moves, right?
Right, so SK Hynix leveraged ETFs dropped approximately 30%.
Wait, 30%? But hold on, are the actual company fundamentals being completely ignored here?
It definitely seems like the market is ignoring them for now.
Because, I mean, IBK Securities just raised their SK Hynix target price to 4 million won, which is about 2,857 USD.
Yeah, they did.
And they pointed directly to the strong ongoing demand for this exact high bandwidth memory, or HBM chips. So aren't institutions just kind of overreacting?
Individual retail investors net bought $4.5 billion as foreigners exited, creating immediate portfolio risk because retail buyers are absorbing an institutional exodus with no sign of stabilization after erasing roughly $407 billion USD from the hashtag KOSPI. This means positions entered now face continued mark-to-market pressure until this 10-session foreign selling streak breaks. For standard Korea ETF holders, you must wait to see if foreign net flows reverse, while watching if the National Pension Service's July rebalancing adds supply-side pressure to large-cap names.
So basically, even if the underlying companies are fine, the immediate mechanics of supply and demand are just stacked against anyone buying the dip right now?
Exactly. It's a structural risk. Oh, and briefly, you should note that the ACE TDF2050 and ACE Apple Value Chain Active ETFs delist on July 7 and 9.
Wait, they're shutting down entirely?
Yes, due to a benchmark correlation test failure, meaning they didn't track their underlying index closely enough. You will be automatically redeemed at the fund's net asset value, but you should verify your holdings immediately.
Good to know, yeah. It really leaves us with a critical question to consider this weekend, because if the massive U.S. tech giants are truly finished building out their AI infrastructure, who is going to step up to buy the millions of advanced memory chips Korea is churning out next?
That is the big question going forward, for sure.
That's today's AI Prism, retail investors. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI Prism is a WAN IFRA award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.